Y'all, we're back with some UFO news, and have I got a video for you. You guys know I love going down the UFO and paranormal rabbit hole. Well, now I found another channel that you need to be subscribed to. So make sure you check them out after you check out this video, because they've been posting some great content. I've seen about 2 of their videos and have been blown away. And the next one that I'm about to show you now, I haven't seen it, so we're going in blind together. But it features Stephen Greer, and it talks about UFO disclosure. So this is going to be a great video. I took a peek at the description and some of the comments, and people are blown away. So I am ready to experience this together, and hopefully in this video, we get some truths about UFO, UAP, aliens, and as Wikipedia is pointing out on his YouTube channel, alien abductions, which I think this little context note is interesting because every time I make a video, they add one about interdimensional beings, even when I don't mention them. Now, this channel is called Awaken Zone. Y'all, go subscribe, go give them a like, do the things. They're incredible. Let's check this out. This is UFO Disclosure, the truth behind the shadows, featuring Dr. Stephen Greer. Ooh. Oh, I want to say, I love this so far, and I love this channel from what I've seen, but the Jerusalem UFO, it it has been debunked. They say this is fake. It was a project that some art students were working on. Not that I disbelieve the debunk. I believe this video here was definitely from the students. However, I remember witnessing this when it happened and when it was published, and these were not the videos. These literally look like remakes of what actually happened. So I don't know if the event happened, then they made the whole student thing, they made them do it to cover it up or what. But I remember the original videos I saw, there was about 4 or 5 different angles. They did not look like this. Like the orb was not this like ball. It was literally light. Like that's the only way I could describe it. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But we already know that the second this clip here, unfortunately, is not a real clip. Remember, we know that it was a commercial for a production team. So that one's not real, but it did fool a lot of people, and it's possible that when they made this video, they weren't aware of that.
People the truth about this,
Ooh.
you will lose all credibility because the truth is much less believable than the fiction we're selling. By October 1954,
Ooh.
we had mastered what's called gravity control,
Oh.
which most engineers at MIT and elsewhere do not think we can do today. But that was in a deeply classified project.
That now I want to say what he said is absolutely correct, but remember, in the AARO report, even though they said they weren't extraterrestrials or non-earthly crafts, they did say that what the one witness saw with the football field inside of the small UFO, but it was actually our technology, that was real. Meaning we do have the anti-gravity, whether they tell us or not. They slightly admitted it in that AARO report.
How do I know that? Because one of the people on my team, Richard Foch, who is the top scientist at the largest Department of Defense lab, the Naval Research Labs, but was on my team for many, many years. He was in the vault and saw the papers that proved, and it stated October 1954 is when we mastered gravity control. Ironically,
Wow.
in 1955, Eisenhower started the U.S. Interstate highway system, and by that date, we didn't need highways.
Oh.
Isn't it astonishing?
Wow. Wow, it really puts things into perspective.
To think that as far back as 1954, humanity had already unlocked secrets of gravity that modern science still struggles to acknowledge. Dr. Greer introduces us to a revelation that challenges our understanding of physics and engineering. But why, after mastering such groundbreaking technology, did we continue to build highways instead of skyways?
Because they don't want anyone to know at that point, because now I think it's bigger. I think it's snowballed into a whole thing. they're fucking crazy. And they're, oh, we don't want people to know what weapons we have. Or how about stop fighting and use the technology to better the world? God.
What does this tell us about the secrets held by our governments? How might our world have evolved if gravity control technology had been made public instead of being concealed?
We
Look,
would
the
be,
reason it's being
you'd be
kept so
so far
secret
ahead.
is because the technologies behind how those objects move. They have no jets. They have no rockets. They're not an internal combustion engine, and they most certainly don't have a nuclear power plant on them because there's no heat signature. And nuclear
Right? That's
power
crazy.
fusion is
Could you
hot.
imagine?
When you look at them, you realize it's a whole new physics, a whole electromagnetic propulsion type system.
And sorry, but I feel that that's a very important component to it. It's a whole new physics. It's a whole new science. And scientists, I mean, even archaeologists, when they're digging stuff up and that's like factual on the earth and we have evidence, like that community of researchers does not want to accept new information, which blows my mind because that's like the whole point of research is to grow and evolve. Oh,
Very high
sorry, I'm
voltage
so annoyed
systems,
today with them.
similar to what Nikola Tesla and other people stumbled across in the early 20th century.
Yeah.
But I said, if that were to be disclosed, we would terminate oil, gas, coal, nuclear
Money.
power, wind,
Money.
solar, you name it, and public utilities. You're talking a huge transformation in how the world operates. Now, on the one hand, be disruptive to the status quo of the macroeconomic system. On the other hand,
that part
it
right
would
there.
end
That
all
part.
pollution. It would end all poverty in 20 years.
Yes.
And everyone on the planet would have
Yes.
quote unquote free energy
Yes.
from what's called the 0 point energy field. And we can discuss this later. So he said,
Yes.
I get it. So, you know, it's about power, money, and the corrupting influence of it. It is not about science, because once you drill down the science, the evidence is absolutely overwhelming.
And isn't that always the case? I recently had a whole debate on Twitter about human nature, and it's so true. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Everything that changes is external. We will always stay the same. It's human nature. We're fucking greedy and angry and prideful. We want to fight for territory and fight for everything that doesn't matter because blink and you'll die. Time goes by really, really, really quickly. You'll be 80 before you know it. So what are you doing with all of this that you're accumulating? Let the world be prosperous as a whole and let them be
Greer
free.
unveils a world where energy is limitless
I
and the
love
chains of pollution
I
and
love
poverty
Awakens
are
on. Go
broken. The
subscribe.
implications of disclosing such advanced technologies could have revolutionized our society, yet the thirst for power and control keeps these innovations hidden. Imagine a world powered by clean, free energy. Why do you think those in power fear this change? What would our planet look like today if 0 point energy had replaced traditional power sources decades ago?
When I first started working with all these guys here, they have a type of, I call it disclosure PTSD. It's a traumatic. For me, in the 1990s, it was very traumatic to find out about this was absolutely real, that it was being kept secret, that it was out of control, and that there was a compartmented part of it.
It's an interesting way to phrase that. Everything I got, I'm like, yes, 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 until he said that it was out of control. And it makes me wonder what aspect of it is he talking about when he says that. And just, God, we need answers.
We're already committing atrocities such as staged fake alien abductions and mutilations. Everybody's heard of these. Everybody assumes they're aliens.
Why would we
They
stay?
are not. We have a testimony from Air Force intelligence officer as well as documents that prove that those are being done by humans for their, quote, psychological warfare value. So I think there are two things.
the hell?
One is that they want to keep the energy technologies away. And this is why we did the Lost Century and how to reclaim it, with an expose of what the world has lost through this illegal secrecy and how we need to regain it, and what the world looks like after that, which is gorgeous, beautiful. A totally transformed planet. If we no longer had to have any polluting sources of energy, the energy itself was free once you had the device, the 0 point generator system, and poverty around the world would vanish in a generation, about 20 years. But
could you imagine? Could you imagine? And what's crazy, what's sickening and disgusting is that the upper crust makes money out of the others being in poverty. that is disgusting. They make money off of it, and that's why they make sure rent is the way that it is. Oh, I can go on a whole tangent. I'm sorry. I'm excited and frustrated, and this video is just evoking all of it.
Stakeholders, right? Hundreds of trillions of dollars at stake. So this is where you get into a real power struggle, which is what this issue is. The other part of it is that if you look at sort of the lockdowns and global control that happened, can I be blunt? I know
Yes,
for a
please be
fact
blunt.
that was a beta test for what they're wanting to do on this issue. And that is to disclose it in such a way that it manipulates the public into fear so that they can then, through sort of a totalitarian militarism and central state authority, control the whole world, not just one country. As Reagan said, wouldn't our job of creating world unity be easier if we had a common alien threat to fight? So this is why they've spent so much time making, bad Hollywood movies and UFO conferences and staging these ridiculous abductions, which are gruesome, and there are terrible victims of those.
And I can agree to that. We've had this conversation before on what aliens do. I've seen comments, the aliens are demons and that's why they do this, or they're evil. I've even said they view us as just like animals in a zoo. But the mutilation part makes no sense to me, the animal and human mutilation. You don't need to mutilate someone to do genetic testing, right? You don't need to mutilate a woman for eggs or mutilate a man for sperm. We have clinics in which people literally willingly offer these things. And if we, the inferior technology wise, I can't speak today. The inferior species have those clinics. What makes you think aliens have to go as far as mutilating us? Like, come on.
Being done by extraterrestrial beings. They're being done by what's called stagecraft, using advanced man-made ET-looking craft, but they're not ET.
The concept of disclosure PTSD sheds light on the psychological toll that harboring such monumental secrets can take on individuals.
And it also brings
Dr. Greer's narrative reveals a sinister side to
Project
secrecy, where staged events manipulate public perception for psychological warfare. How deep does this rabbit hole go? And what are the real motivations behind keeping such
It's like he knows me. Thank you, Awakened Zone. I am in your rabbit hole, my friend. Well, I am in a rabbit hole that you created. The other way sounded horrible.
Technologies under wraps? Could the staging of alien abductions be a smokescreen for something even more significant the governments are hiding?
One of my jobs is to warn the public and these officials of this sort of subterfuge and gaming of the subject, which is completely dishonest. Now, luckily, people like Congressman Burchett and others have said, look, if these civilizations were hostile,
these captions
would be a charcoal floating through space. I mean, it clearly, if you're tens of thousands to a million years more advanced technologically than we are, if they were outright hostile to us,
they would wipe us out. Right.
I think, however, things get misconstrued. Let's take, for example, all the nuclear silo cases. Well, it turns out these ET craft, the real ones, are concerned about those systems because they're worried about
the resources on
Earth. It would destroy life on Earth, and they view life on Earth as a very special place. Secondly, when you detonate a thermonuclear weapon,
talking about this?
It puts out not only a electromagnetic pulse everybody knows about,
but it blasts out into space.
Tesla described as a scalar signal. And the scalar is faster than the speed of conventional light.
And that is why when those nukes went off, we saw the little UFO spots appear. They received this. This is why after our first nuke, we started seeing even more UFO, actual ET UFO. Like, they've obviously come through the ages, but they came because that signal was sent through space. Like, that blast is... People don't understand the amount of power we have in our bombs. Like, oh my God, I don't even, it's creepy. It's really scary. Like, nuclear fission, like, that's what the sun does. Just keep that in mind.
Magnetic propagation, because it's a point that goes out in a line as opposed to a wave, like normal light that we're seeing. So those disrupt extraterrestrial communications and travel. So the reason you saw those craft that crashed near Roswell was because that was the only atomic bomb squadron in the world in 1947, 509th Army Air Base.
Listen to this,
Field.
y'all.
Dr. Greer
It makes so
challenges
much
the narrative of
sense.
hostility traditionally associated with extraterrestrial life. If advanced civilizations wanted harm, wouldn't they have acted by now? This perspective invites us to reconsider the narrative of fear and to think critically about the motives behind it. How might
Amen.
acknowledging our place in a broader, peaceful cosmic community change the
Could you
way we
imagine
see
traveling the
ourselves and
stars?
our
It'd be
planet?
so freaking
If
cool.
extraterrestrial beings are concerned with our nuclear capabilities to the extent of intervening, what does this imply about their intentions towards human life and Earth?
I love the point that Awakened Zone makes, and it's so true. And we do see them intervening. We see them going to nuclear power plants, shutting stuff down, shooting down or taking down missiles. Like, we see this stuff happen. A lot of people don't pay as much attention to it, but it is something that is called out. Actually, one of the main concerns and one of the reasons the government started, the part of the government that doesn't know, started looking into UFOs is because they are around our nuclear power plants. They are in the air, worrying our Air Force that are trying to fly around and do routine surveillance and routine training. Like, they are not dangerous in the sense that they are hostile, but they are clearly watching and they're not happy about what the hell's going on. And we need to be aware of what actually is going on so that we don't create more problems.
I would not share things except I can back it up, which is why I gave the House Oversight Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, the Pentagon, the White House, the hard drive with terabytes of this data on it, including the witness testimonies, where all the facilities are, images of what the ET craft looked like we down, what the bodies look like from the description of firsthand military witnesses who handled them
He
with
gave
the
them
forensic artist
everything.
drawing it.
Sorry,
We
it's really hot.
provided
I'm
all
wind
this.
blown
So
by
I
the
think
air
at this
conditioner.
point, anyone who would have a cursory glance through that data would go,
Would know. Oh my God.
Now, yes, I will say, I was warned in 1991 by an intelligence officer. He said, if you tell the people the truth about this, you will lose all credibility because the truth is much less believable than the fiction we're selling. That is a real catch-22. Do you tell the truth and lose credibility? Or do you tell some kindergarten version of the truth to placate people? I am not doing the latter. But it's controversial. I'll admit it's extremely controversial. But I mean, at my stage of life, I may not have 12 grandchildren. I'm 68 years old. I'm not someone who feels like I need to.
Oh, I didn't know he has such a big family. I love that. That's so sweet. I love big families.
Feels like I need to pitter patter around the tulip garden, right? What our goal is that enough is put in place in the next 6 to 12 months that the actual ET bodies, craft, and man-made assets are first acquired and shown to the members of Congress and White House, and then to the world's public. I think it's achievable in the next year or so if we aren't diverted.
With evidence handed over to the highest levels of government, Dr. Greer
and
stands
I agree,
at the
and I feel like
one of the most
we have representatives that are taking this
in human
seriously.
history. But the path to truth is fraught with disbelief and controversy. How do we navigate the fine line between skepticism and the undeniable evidence presented before us? In a world teetering on the brink of major disclosure, how should we prepare ourselves for the potential revelation of extraterrestrial life? And
love that video. I think it was very, very insightful. I don't want to say that there was like new information that we never knew and didn't hear before, but it's very important for information like this to get reiterated in a cohesive and concise way so that we can set a better perspective for ourselves going forward and get a real look at what's going on in the world. I love this video. I love Awaken Zone. I love Stephen Greer. I appreciate him as a person. I appreciate everything he says. Even if you don't believe certain people, you need to appreciate what they say because you can take what they say and then do your own independent research going forward. So I appreciate him and Awaken Zone. I love this video. I love this channel. I need you guys to go subscribe and give this dude a like because he's putting in the work. Y'all, and don't forget, the Discord is up and running, so make sure that you click the link below and join the Discord so we can have even deeper conversations and a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. I hope it was insightful and that you learned something new or at least gained new perspective. Smash that like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And smash that dislike if you didn't like it. Let your opinion be known. You guys are absolutely incredible. I love y'all. I will see all of you next time. And don't forget, keep looking up and have your camera ready.